This day off started like any other Saturday. Alex woke up later than usual, kissed his beloved wife with whom he had been married for 15 years. She brushed him off, rolled over on her other side and whispered, "Let me sleep. Don't get in the way. You don't let you sleep at night and even in the morning, and the girls are already adults." Alex is a little upset and says that's exactly what adults are not going to go into the bedroom. Betty, so called his wife, answered, "Do not interfere. I sleep." Alex got out of bed, put his favorite white robe on him, went to the window, looked out at the street, where the weather was beautiful and sunny, and went to the shower. On the way to the shower, he heard a noise in the room of Eve's eldest daughter. As he realized, his younger sister Grace came to him and he did not interfere with them. After showering, Alex went to the kitchen to make breakfast for his daughters and beloved wife. His 2 daughters were already sitting at the table. Eve, the eldest daughter, asked what would be for breakfast today, because they were still going to school. Alex looked at her in surprise and replied that, "What a school. You are on New Year's holidays and today you are going to your grandmother. Go wash, brush your teeth. Your favorite sandwiches will be ready in 15 minutes. Alex, surprisingly, made breakfast for his daughters very quickly. At that moment, Betty walked into the shower. Eve and Grace sat down at the table, had breakfast. At that moment, the spousey enters in the old shirt of her husband, and from just a look at his wife, Alex caused a feeling of excitement. Alex tried to compliment her often because he loved her very much. Of course, each man has his own look at his beloved woman, but Alex looked at Betty in a special way. But at some point, a barrier appeared between them and something interfered with their marriage. Betty sat down at the table and told her daughters, "Finish eating and go to get ready. Now Dad will take you to your grandmother. There you will spend your New Year holidays. Mom, why you promised that during the New Year holidays we will go hiking and celebrate the New Year all together, our family." Girls, life is sometimes so arranged that not everything can be done as planned. But I promise you, we definitely go hiking on spring break, just there will be no snow. But if you want snow, let's go to the mountains with you. There it lies all year round, milked, go get ready. Alex did not like Betty's attitude to this campaign, and how she sent the girls to her grandmother with great desire. Honestly, he himself hoped that they would spend this weekend all together. He saw some cooling of Betty, that she was moving away from their family, and it was frustrating for him. It coincided with the moment when new director Joan came to her job. But what was more embarrassing about Alex was that Betty and Joan had known each other since their student days, walking in the same company. Betty did not tell Alex about her new director, but he believed that there would be no intrigue and secrets here, and she would definitely take the time to tell him everything. Alex had a thought in his head to meet with Joan and discuss everything in advance. But he understood that it would be superfluous and would only aggravate the situation in relations with his wife. But Alex was very afraid of losing his wife, so he tightened his control over his wife. Alex knew they had nothing but a slight flirtation, and the situation with the daughters meant that they would remain together for all the holidays, and something should definitely happen. He was preparing for a serious conversation, even carrying a voice recorder with him constantly, so that he could then listen to all her words and think over every word. But his heart did not stop beating hard, and his soul burst out. Alex saw that his wife did not make contact with him in any way, but he wanted to keep the marriage, and even more, he did not want to lose his only beloved daughters. Betty decided to call him to a conversation and called him to the kitchen. Alex went into the bathroom, took a deep breath out, turned on the recorder and went to the kitchen where his wife was waiting. He sat down at the table and kept his eyes on Betty. She glanced at him, smiled, but the smile abruptly disappeared from her face. Alex didn't like the setting, but he didn't give in to the look and asked Betty if something was wrong. But to the surprise of Alex, she answered him, "Everything is fine, you know. I love you, and only you. You are a wonderful husband and father for our daughters. I want to live with you for the rest of my life. Yes, and we will die in one day," tried to convey to Betty in a comic form. "But what prevents us?" Alex asked. "You know, by education I am a sociologist. There are those who graduated from our university, but work as sociologists for a few. Using population surveys and mathematical data treatments, they find out what is really happening in society, reveal the causes of negative phenomena, and give recommendations for improving the situation. Although I work as a marketer and as a sociologist, I do marketing research. I closely follow the news of sociology. Alex did not understand what Betty wanted to convey to him and asked, "Can the very essence of the question be?" I read about what leads to the breakdown of marriages, and I want to minimize the likelihood that something bad will happen to us. And what could happen to us? I was surprised to ask Alex, "We must be as active as possible to get around all the traps that can cause marriages to break up." Betty, it seems to me that you have read some misunderstood psychologists again in order to attract attention. I do not believe in such conclusions at all. Betty sat with a not happy face and told Alex, "I say serious things. I worry about our family that we could lose each other." "Okay," Alex agreed. "Tell me what we have to do. Go to a psychologist?" I thought for a long time and decided that we needed a sabbatical from our marriage while we explored our interpersonal nature. We need to get to know other places and people so that when we meet again, we have full understanding and extensive experience to support our relationship. And how long does it have to go on? Month? Year? Alex asked. No. That you. I think we will have enough 2 weeks of a holiday weekend. Alex was disappointed in her behavior and words and began to get angry. Did you specifically send the children to your mother and tell me all this nonsense to have fun with your lover? Did I get it right? Alex was stunned by Betty's approach. Her brazen proposal shocked Alex very much, but he had practically no surprise because he guessed. Betty sat with a stone face and just asked, "Which lover is in question? I know you don't like it, but you'll see nothing change between us. I'll make sure you're happy when we reunite." "Yes, it's selfish of me, but I have a reason to justify me. I want to live with you until my old age. You don't understand it now, but once you understand it, you apologize to me." "Didn't you understand what lover I was talking about? I'm talking about your new director, Joan. You really liked him at university, but when you realized that he was indifferent to you, you switched to me. You never told me about your new director. Was it any secret? And you're wrong about something else, what?" asked Betty. "The fact is that nothing will change with us. Everything will change, more precisely. It has already changed. Your attitude towards me and our children has changed. Everything is changing in our family today. Alex, I only love you and I don't know what you thought." "Betty, I don't know how you explain our divorce to your parents. How do you explain to Eve and Grace? What do you even tell them?" Alex continued. "What are you even saying, Alex? We do not divorce, and what happens between us does not concern parents. All I said to you is science, and there is no need to drive it to stories invented by you and some lovers. I see you're going to complicate things when I try, on the contrary, to help us and save our relationship. Therefore, you will go to take the girls, and when you return, we will decide everything." "Betty, we won't solve anything with you anymore," Alex shouted loudly. "I'm just leaving. I'm sick of it. But you can't do that to me." There were tears in Betty's eyes. "I can do it," Alex answered proudly. "I'm not going to do what you offered me. I think you yourself did as I did. I didn't plan anything like you." "Alex, but I said that I was canceling everything." "Yeah, Betty, you said. But then again, when I came back, you wanted to sit down and talk about it. It turns out that you will again seek freedom from me this long weekend. In the meantime, I'm going to carry the girls. You're going to talk to your Joan. What are you going to do?" At that moment, the eldest daughter entered the kitchen and said, "Dad, we are ready." "Okay, I'll be ready in 5 minutes." Alex quickly dressed, took his laptop and went downstairs without saying goodbye to his wife. He got into the car, started it, but all Alex's thoughts were only about this conversation. Eve and Grace sat in the back seat, and they went. Betty was looking at them in the trail through the window. Alex drove into the big road. There was silence in the car, but at one point Grace told him, "Dad and Grandma lives in the other side." "I know, daughter, but I was going on a hike with you, so we will go there. But as we go, we have nothing with us." It's okay. We'll come up with something, Alex answered in a languid voice. Dad, will you get divorced from your mother? Of course not. Why did you decide so? Dad, we've all heard. Dad, but you know, I'm on your side, the youngest daughter Grace told him. She looked at Eve, and at that moment, Eve said too. Dad, I'm for you too. Only where will we live? Girls, we will live with my mother. I will take you to school. I will take you textbooks and clothes. In the meantime, we remove all stupid thoughts from our heads and go to rest. You deserve it. Betty, escorting the car with her eyes, abruptly picked up her phone and began calling Joan. He immediately answered the phone. Joan, I have a problem. Alex did not behave as we assumed. He didn't believe me. I offered him everything the way you and I discussed, to part for 2 weeks. And what is he? It turned out that he knows everything, about you and about our relationship. I don't understand where he learned from. He said that he would divorce. Joan didn't like it. He said there would be a huge scandal. The whole office will be aware, everyone will gossip, and from them it will reach my wife. I don't want to lose my wife. Betty didn't like Joanne's response like that, and she asked, what do I do now? And Alex had already returned. Joan asked, no, he'll be back in about an hour or 2 or 3. Tell him when he comes back that you have considered everything, and he is right that it is stupid, and there will be no separation, Joan said. But Betty replied to him that I had already told him this, and he did not believe me. He thought that I would persuade him when he returned. Joan began to calm Betty down and said, the main thing for us is to calm him down, to extinguish this outbreak, and in no case should it reach our office. Betty ended the conversation. When she got support from Joan, it made her feel better. She remembered the saying that the path to the man's heart lies through his stomach, decided to set the table. She went to the nearest restaurant, ordered food there, because she had no time to cook, bought a bottle of wine and returned home. Everything warmed up, laid a beautiful table and sat in a TV chair and thought, was this short-term intrigue with Joan worth the collapse of the family? After all, now it will be very difficult to convince her husband. And what exactly does Alex know about their relationship with Joan? All, Betty thought. I didn't tell Alex in vain that he was the new director at my company. After all, he would have learned about it sooner or later. Betty understood perfectly well that they would not succeed with Joan, that he would disappear as much as 17 years ago. Their first one-on-one conversation confirmed this. Life showed her how stupid her act was. It took 4 hours, but Alex was gone. Betty decided to call her mother, although she did not answer right away. But after a while, she still answered the call. Daughter, I listened to you carefully. Something happened? My mother asked. Yes, I called to find out how you were doing there, Betty inquired. And what do we have? Winter is outside the window. We sit with our grandfather together and swear. My mother laughed. But you don't worry. It's out of habit. It's just boring for us. My mother immediately added. And when will you bring your granddaughters to visit us? Soon we will bring, Mom. Quickly said goodbye to her and threw the phone. After talking with her mother, Betty realized that Alex and the girls did not appear there. She decided to call Alex's parents, his father replied. Betty, listening to you, said Alex's father sternly. Hello, Betty said in a trembling voice. I just wanted to know how you were doing. She added, Betty, don't lie. You're looking for Alexa with the kids. He warned us about everything. So did you have it? Betty asked. No, we didn't have one. He called us and told us you were getting divorced. Betty tried to rectify the situation and said that it was stupid and no one was going to divorce, and just there was not a big quarrel. Betty, Father said in a stern voice, Alex told me everything, your whole morning situation and your whole conversation. I invited him to meet, but he said that now he is with his daughters, and they fully support him. Betty couldn't hold her tears and asked Alex's father to tell him he didn't get it right. I don't know, daughter, what to do. My father tried to calm down. My old woman and I have lived for many years, And even in the most difficult moments, we did not want to pause in our relationship. Who offered you this stupidity? And also, if you love another man, why torment everyone? If you are ready to run from your husband to your lover, then I think you better leave and the girls will be better off with Alex, father said in a sad voice. What you say, there will be no divorce. Betty raised her voice. That's what you think. I know my son, and you don't seem to know him, added Alex's father. Betty decided to recruit Joan, and to surprise his wife answered, Can I, Joanna, please? I am his employee. We work together, said Betty. But in response, the answer sounded a strict voice. I know who you are. No need to tell me. I kicked him out. I'm not going to live with someone like that who won't miss a single skirt. Because of him, I changed 2 cities. I'm not going to leave here. I like it here. I thought you already had him. Joanna's wife laughed. But why should I have it? Betty asked in surprise. Joan's wife laughed even more and said, I know you had an affair at work, but believe me, he's not the only one. And she dropped the phone. Betty began to cry very much and did not know what to do. It's been half a year. Alex decided to divorce Betty into the truth, and the daughters were given the choice of who to stay with, and they chose Dad. Betty asked for forgiveness many times, but neither Alex nor Joan appeared again in her life. So Betty was left alone. This is the story. Thank you for your attention. Write in the comment, what do you think about this?